It is so hot in my house. The AC went out. It is 90 degrees. It's in the middle of a heat wave. It's like 105-degree heat index or 98 degrees outside. So inside my house, it's 90 degrees, 89, but close enough. This sucks. Plex is awesome and everything, but if you really want to squeeze the most features out of your Plex media server, you can get a Plex Pass. Now, while there are many benefits to having a Plex Pass versus a free user account, my favorite one is getting early access to new features that Plex has not yet released to the general public. So if you're like me and you want to try out those new features, check out the description down below. Down there, you can either purchase a Plex Pass for yourself or a friend, and hey, if you don't have a free account, use my link as well. It helps me out. So check out the description down below to get your Plex Pass today. What's up YouTube, Jason here with Jason Bites Back, episode number 26. And yes, my AC is out, so if I'm wet by the end of this video, that's why. Giggity. So because I can't wait to get right back in front of the fan, I'm gonna jump right into the questions. But before I jump into this video, as always, this video is sponsored by my awesome Patreon subscribers. Guys, thank you very much for subscribing to my Patreon. I do definitely appreciate you. And you got a little bit more information in that last Patreon video for your $10 people. You know what's coming up on this channel. A lot of big plans, a lot of cog spinning. I am excited. Thank you. You guys are the ones that made it happen. First question is from Transform Potato Photo. Have you looked into 10 gig networking at all? PSense does a good job with 10 gig and you can get a 10 gig switch for under $500. I've looked into 10 gig, but nothing really that serious, mainly because really for my workflow, I just have no need for it. I mean, I have a dedicated 10 gig fiber line running from my main computer to my main server Zeus as it is. So when I'm copying things over to my server from my computer, I get those 10 gig speeds, but everything else in my network would not be able to use 10 gig for anything else. Maybe if down the line I start adding additional servers and actually have a use for multiple 10 gig connections for multiple PCs on my network, I might consider 10 gig then. But right now, if I had it and I installed it, I plug it in, nothing would be able to take advantage or be faster past what I have right now between my main computer and my server. So no, not really. Next question is from Josh, a low-end AMD build to test transcoding on Plex through FreeNAS, maybe something like a 2600 or 3000 series equivalent. Actually, things might be coming relatively soon. I want to test, I'm probably gonna start with a higher end Ryzen, but I wanna actually get a lot of different tests in with some different CPUs that are going to be costing less. So more information to be determined. Don't wanna say right now because there's a lot of stuff up in the air, like how much it's gonna cost to fix my AC. Because the guy was like, it could be just this or it could be this. But I won't know till Tuesday. So until then. Next question is from Matt. Do you still think that WD Red 5400s are fine? Save the extra money and the 7200s cost and just using for streaming Plex media server. Well, to Matt and everybody else out there that might be wondering this, yes, I do still believe that 5400 RPM hard drives are plenty for a Plex media server. While it might be true that you could cut a few milliseconds off your seek time when you're starting a media file with a 7200 RPM, I think the difference is just not worth the cost. I mean, you have to think if you're building a server that has 15, maybe 24 different hard drives in it, that added cost is multiplied by 24. So if you have that kind of money to blow and not miss it, hey, more power to you. But if you're a baller on a budget and you want, 5400 RPMs, you're not going to suffer from it. Next question is from Michael Barton. Are you going to LTX? Yes, I am. In fact, part of my build, I'm actually getting something that I want to try to take to LTX that I'm going to bombard like Paul and Linus and Luke and a few other people that I have a list of, and I'm gonna have them sign it with a Sharpie. So I'm gonna fangirl a little bit at LTX on all the real YouTubers there, and it's gonna be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. Especially if they have air conditioning. And that's like 4 weeks away, July, I think 27th. So yes, I'm going to it and I will be probably in the crowd somewhere filming other people like a creep with something hanging off my neck that I'm having other people sign. Yeah. Next question is from Team Rampage Services. Question, how would one go about converting an analog CCTV camera to work with an IP-based system such as Blue Iris? my parents bought one, they want to use what they have, etc. Okay, so if you want to take an analog signal, which is what CCTV cameras are, they're just a coax cable, and you want to convert it to an IP camera, you actually literally need like an analog to digital converter to do so. Now this could be in the form of the DVR that came with your system. So for example, if you bought a pre-built system that connects to your CCTV cameras, a lot of times they have the option to connect to that DVR via like an IP protocol where you can type in a username and password and call those specific cameras that are listed in the DVR. And then if you want to build a Blue Iris software that runs on the side of this and then also add on additional cameras to Blue Iris, then you could do that. In fact, my system right now pulls 3 CCTV feeds from a DVR system that is on a complete CCTV camera system. So if you already have that system now, I definitely recommend going into the user manual and seeing if there is an option to rebroadcast an RTSP stream. If not, then well, you'd probably end up having to buy like a CCTV to IP camera converter, you know, going from that analog to digital. And honestly, I mean, cameras are so cheap now. I mean, I would just buy new cameras. I know it sucks, but if you can't get what you have working as it is, it's probably better to just move on and go to a better technology, and moving forward would be a lot easier for you. Next question is from the plumber. How about how to update Plex when the update button isn't working in my server? It is Windows 10, will not update no matter what I try. There's no videos on the matter. Yada, 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 can't talk to Plex. Well, the simple answer to this question, especially if you're using Windows 10, it's super easy. Just go to the Plex website and download a new copy of the Plex Media Server. I mean, that's really what the update button is doing, is just downloading the new installation file from the Plex server. So if you manually download it and manually start the installation, it will automatically keep all of your old settings when you reinstall Plex. So if your little upgrade button isn't working, just go directly to plex.tv and download Plex installation file, and you should be good to go. I don't know why your update button wouldn't be working. It's been a long time since I've used, Plex on Windows, but it's an easy fix. Next question is from, what case do you use? This was actually on my water-cooled build where I had the full custom water loop and it was all green and it's pretty nice, 7940X. But anyways, that is a Lian Li PCV3000. Personally, I love the case. It looks amazing and I am definitely impressed with it, and it is huge. It's so huge. It's like totally huge. And if I remember, I will link down below directly to that case if you want to check out how much it cost. Next question is from Eli. Will you be doing a video on the new features that Plex has released lately? Well, Eli, I assumed, I got an email and I saw on Twitter, they have an update where they're offering notifications and a few other things, but I did see that. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I do actually plan on probably covering notifications plus whatever else they listed there. But the notifications is what stuck out to me. So once I have a chance to take a look at it, and if I deem whether or not it's, an entire dedicated video worthy, then yes, I probably will. The chances are high. I just have to actually sit down with it and check it out first and see if it's worth talking about. Next question is from Andy. What about cost of broadband and the increasing data caps? I would have loved to see some analysis on that so we can get a total cost for streaming. Well, Andy, okay, this is on a video about the real cost of streaming. That video's purpose was just to demonstrate how you could rack up a large bill every month, subscribing to various streaming options available on the internet. I mean, obviously nobody's going to get all of the ones that I listed in that video, but another thing, when it comes to internet providers, they vary so much. And really, depending on your needs, even your plan is going to vary from, let's say, what my plan is to your plan. Right now, I pay $170 a month, $50 of which is wasted towards not having a bandwidth cap, and I have the top-of-the-line internet service available to my house, whereas somebody else could pay 30 or 40 bucks a month to deal with a 1 terabyte cap, if that's what your local internet provider offers you, and still be fully capable of streaming 4K content from Netflix. Probably. So yes, I actually did think about adding the cost in there, but again, the price varies so much, it's really hard to peg that down. Next question is from Sean. My mom and my dad is not unhappy, can't understand properly, show that didn't working very hard because password hidden hold when unknown, can't fix TP link enough. Yes. Next question is from Robert. Now that the Pi 4 is announced, are you going to do a full feature on seeing if Pi 4 can be a good Plex server? Yes, Robert, the new Pi is out. I've checked out some initial reviews on it. I saw that some of the playback is not as impressive as I would have hoped it to be, but it is a new release, and I am probably going to end up getting one just for some testing, both with like a direct Kodi install and a direct Plex install. I don't know if it's going to do any kind of transcoding still. I mean, it's still a Pi, and it's still kind of limited on capabilities, but hey, who knows? But I'm sure it'll be able to act as basically a file server, which is what Plex would do if it can't transcode. It just allows you to only direct play. I just don't really see a huge bonus or benefit of having a Plex Pi as a server unless it's a very condensed. I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns here. I imagine at some point, probably after LTX, sometime in August, I'll probably look at getting a Raspberry Pi 4 and checking it out, testing a few different things with it. But as it sits right now, I don't have any kind of order or anything in place waiting to get one. So it's a possibility, a very good probability I'll get one. It's just probably going to be a month or two for me. Next question is from Vanessa. Those things usually come with a piece of paper that is called instructions. It will help you not waste time on putting together things. LOL, you're welcome. Well, Vanessa, I reject your reality and I replace it with my own. We don't need no instructions here. On a serious note though, I do approach a lot of stuff like without the user manual and the instructions on how to assemble. It's probably a dumb way to do it, but I always think like, okay, if a normal consumer, maybe I'm a little bit lower than the IQ average out there, but you know, if I can't figure out how to put it together, then maybe they didn't make it intuitive enough to be put together. That's not always the case, and it's probably not always true, and I should probably read instructions, but I'm just stubborn, and I like to try to figure things out, because sometimes the journey is better than, you know, the end result. Besides, if I just followed instructions and put it together really boring, I mean, what would you have to critique me on? I've got to give you a reason to comment. Next question is from McCoonwinden Solar. They need to come up with an app for both Apple and Android phones, also a client to use on computers to remote into a server. It's stupid to have to buy another license. Okay, this is about the Blue Iris update video that I did, and yes, I 100% agree, and I only included this because I want to say that I agree. I did that video where I was showcasing the new update for Blue Iris, the Blue Iris 5.0. I was all excited about the added feature of being able to, you know, remotely manage your server. Basically, install a client app, connect to a remote installation of Blue Iris, and see everything as if you were standing right in front of that monitor. I was excited to that, and I did run it for a little while, but I noticed two things. One, the license, it was not working because I had to buy another license, and I kind of sort of figured that out when I installed it, but I found a way to trick it to where until I restarted, it wouldn't actually mess anything up. But that became annoying. And if you do that too many times, also they'll like turn your license off and you have to like contact them to have them reset your installation thing. So, and two, really the performance was just not there. I mean, it really needs some optimization. It needs some fine tuning. It needs to be just faster overall. I think I might have touched base a little bit on that in the video on the performance, but it became too much to really want to deal with. That on top of the licensing, my unwillingness to spend an additional $60 just for the benefit of, you know, being able to have a program open on my computer that would directly connect to my Blue Iris server. So I wholeheartedly agree. I think that Blue Iris should probably come out with an app that is downloadable just to client, doesn't actually host anything, and is actually a little bit better performing than their basic install. And I would even be willing to pay like $5 for that. You know, just a client app. It's like downloading an app on your phone. It's a few bucks. But for now, because I didn't want to buy a new license and the performance was so low, I just used an HDMI to R45 to HDMI connector that connects my monitor in my main computer room over to the server room. And now I just run it like that. And I use Synergy with, you know, for my mouse and keyboard. So it's a much better experience. Synergy is not 100% reliable, but it's still way better performing than the way I had it set up before. So the update was aggressive and I liked where they're going. I just didn't like how they did it. Next question is from... That's it. That's all the questions. All right. Well, I don't know if you noticed today, guys, but 6 of my questions today all directly came from my last month's Jason Bites Back video. So if you have a question that you want the highest chance of getting answered, definitely comment down below. I always check the previous video first for any kind of questions or comments that I want to respond to or answer. And then after that, I go into the wild of my comments section and then try to find good answers after that. So questions, comments down below. Thank you for watching. Of course, thanks again to all my Patreon subscribers for subscribing to my Patreon. You guys are awesome, and your names are going to be up in just a few seconds. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Like and subscribe, and have yourself a great day. Ooh, man, I really need, okay. I need to go sit in front of that fan. I'm done with this video. I'm over it. My ice machine can't even keep up with my ice consumption. I started freezing solo cups full of water to put in here because I need more ice than what my ice machine can do. It's just horrible. Tuesday. I can't wait for Tuesday. They say it'll be fixed. Hopefully. There might be something in the works being built here at B&B headquarters. Maybe something. All right, I can't do this anymore. I think you guys had enough time. Bye.